Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone. My name is Kathy. On April 30th, 2025, the public got notice of a sealed and closed hearing in the Idaho versus Kohberger case. This hearing notice is extremely unusual because there is no topic, no subject, no purpose for this hearing published anywhere on it. What we see here is simply that there is a hearing that has been called up on something, May 5th, 2025 at 11:30 a.m. is the time given, and that it will be before Judge Stephen Hippler. Nowhere is the purpose for this sealed, closed, remote hearing given. This is highly unusual, and I say that as the host of the podcast entitled Idaho versus Kohberger. We are up to almost 650 episodes. This dates back to episode number 1, which covered page 1 of the Affidavit of Probable Cause of December 29th, 2022, and our most recent deals with 3 filings, one of which was a notice of filing penalty phase lay witnesses and request for victim impact statements, filed on May 2nd, 2025. We don't know which side filed that document because it's not stated on the case summary page if that is a defense or if it is a state of Idaho filing. But in any event, getting back to this hearing of May 5th and why it is very unusual in this case, calls for looking at some prior notices of hearing. Every single notice of hearing have always cited to what the reason for the hearing is. And I want to give you some examples. The very first hearing that Judge Hippler had after change of venue occurred back on September 26th, 2024. And we see here the notice of hearing tells us the date, the time, the judicial officer, and the subject of the hearing. The subject of the hearing is located in the very first line. It says here, notice is given that the above entitled case is set for status conference. That's the purpose of that hearing. That's the reason why a hearing was being convened before Judge Hippler on September 26th at 2 p.m. Now, we have seen multiple examples of other hearing notices that tell us what the subject of the hearing is, even when it is a closed hearing. By way of one example, you see here the hearing notice that was filed December 9th, 2024 by the defense, giving notice of a closed remote hearing. And the purpose here is right here, second and third lines, page 1, ex parte motions in the above styled matter being called up for hearing December 11, 2024 at 2:30 p.m. Another example was filed by the court. This is a court order, and it tells us here the schedule for hearings that are set for January 23rd and 24th in this matter will proceed as follows, and it tells us that it was started as a closed and sealed hearing 9:00 a.m. on January 23rd, 2025. The court will take up testimony related to defendant's motion to suppress regarding genetic information, quote-unquote IgG, and defendant's motion for Frank's hearing insofar as it regards the IgG investigation. Could not be more clear, could not be more concise, notifying the public of what this closed and sealed hearing was. And then we see that the rest of the hearing would relate to other motions, other matters before the court. Another example is the October 9th, 2024 pretrial and trial order, of which these hearings for the 23rd and going into the 24th were set. If we look at that order, we see that the court is giving everyone notification that on bottom of page 1, last bullet, the time, the date, and the subject of a hearing that's coming up rather quickly in this case, the final pretrial conference. If you look at page 2, you see there the schedule for the motions for DP, when they were filed, the schedule, the briefings, motion, response, reply, due dates, and the notice of hearing. Next paragraph, we see where the January 23rd and 24 dates came into play. Those were the hearing dates for the motions to suppress and other related hearings. We have right there notification as of October 9th, 2024, that a hearing would be called up 2.5 months later, what the topic was. Same with the in limine briefings and hearing dates. Now, this schedule was changed after the parties went to the court and asked for some additional time. So the briefings schedule and also the hearings themselves were changed a little bit. The hearings were on April 9th. This, even dating back to judge days before the change in venue. We see here hearing notice for Mr. Kohberger's arraignment, the date, the time, the purpose of the hearing is given, and also there's other notifications that you can find if you look at the docket before John Judge. So this is very unusual that we see here a hearing coming up on Monday morning in this high-profile case where so many things are under seal. I see no reason why a hearing notice could not tell the public what the hearing it was for. There's some speculation that this might be a resetting of the closed and sealed hearing to discuss the jury questionnaires that was supposed to happen. We found out by looking at a notation on the case summary page that that hearing was canceled. There was never a notice of cancellation of hearing that was ever filed. And so some people are thinking that might be what this hearing is for. But if that's the purpose, we had notice that there was originally supposed to be a hearing on the questionnaires, the jury questionnaires before Judge Stephen J. Hippler. So why wouldn't that be noticed here if that's the purpose of the May 5th hearing? I'm not saying that it's not. It might be. But if it turns out that that is the hearing for the jury questionnaires, why wouldn't it be noted there if the court told the public back on October 9th that there would be a hearing on the jury questionnaires? The secrecy of the hearing has led to some speculation of a wide variety of things that this might be. We just don't know at this time. Hopefully we'll learn after this hearing. Hopefully there'll be some minutes or there'll be some type of court order that will tell the public after the fact what the purpose of this hearing in this high-profile case is. If you have any comments, any feedback, please leave them here. All of your feedback is very greatly appreciated. And if you like our content, I would appreciate it if you could hit the like button and consider subscribing to our channel as well. If and when there's any update regarding the purpose of this May 5th hearing, I will, of course, notify you. So please continue to stay tuned for further information. Until next time, this is Kathy. Thanks for joining us here today.